I have conferred with President Rounds, and he suggested, and I agreed, that given the weather, I should trim my remarks from 2 hours to 1 hour. I'm just kidding. It's going to be the full 2 hours. You should all be laughing more, or else I'll make it 3 hours. That's more like it. That's better. But this is a very serious day, and I am really mindful of the honor and privilege of talking with you and with your families on such an important thing. To cut to the chase, I have two important truths to get to and talk about three people who lived those truths. Let's start with those truths. As you all know, the 5 core values of Williamson are faith, integrity, diligence, excellence, and service. Those are great values. They define what Williamson men are. But the one I want to focus on today is service. It's kind of unfortunate that that one falls last on the list. I mean, I get it. Something has to be last. I don't think anybody thought that was like the least valuable of them. It's important. But it's easy to lose track of. You know, what was that last one again? Especially in the context of coming after the bangers earlier. Faith, integrity, persistence, excellence. Who wouldn't want to be identified with those? Who doesn't want to be described that way? But service is important too. Maybe it's something about the word. Maybe we think of service as something less active or exciting, or something that you're less in charge of. You know, you hear service charge, service fee, things like that. Maybe service is some kind of obligation, something you do a couple times a year to be nice, to check a box. No. Service is a great thing. Service is something to aim for on itself. Service is not just an obligation. Service is an opportunity. That's it. That's the first truth. Service is an opportunity. It's like in basketball. If somebody passes you the ball and you've got an open shot, yeah, I guess you've got an obligation to shoot it. No. You have the opportunity to shoot it. You have the opportunity to score. You have the opportunity to do something, and that's what service is. Maybe we should take a broader definition of service. If you look up what adjectives for service are, it's kindness, courtesy, generosity, grace, that's a good one, mercy, help, benefit, blessing, that's a two-way street. When people hear service, they might think about volunteering or a service project. Service projects are great. I know you guys do that here. That's awesome. Keep doing it. But there's more than that. It's recognizing that there are things that are bigger than ourselves, things that you can be doing with your time and your treasure and your attention that are more than just spending those things on yourself. Look at the people who are here today. Look at the people all around. They could be out playing golf. I mean, maybe not today, but in general. Or they could be working or doing stuff with their family or other things, but they're here. They're here because they care about this place. They care about you. They care about the future of this place, and that's worth their time and effort. They're here because they love it. And that's really, at a bigger level, that's what America is all about. That's what the secret sauce is of this country. It's baked into our DNA. Charity, giving money away, giving your time away, volunteering, helping other people. When people from other countries like European countries, when they hear about what Americans give and how much money they give and how many private organizations and how much volunteerism is, they can't believe it. It doesn't make sense to them. In their countries, everybody relies on the government for everything. Everything is the government's problem to solve. Here, we rely on ourselves and each other. So service is your opportunity to show yourself and the world who you are. That's the first idea. Service is an opportunity. The second one, well, look around. I mean, this place is special. This is unique. You hear it all the time. You're going to see it after you're gone. You're going to feel it after you're gone. Williamson's a special place. But so too is this area, Philadelphia. Every place has local history. You know, any place you go, there is a history to it. But here, the history is important. The history of Philadelphia is the history of this country. 250 years ago, next year, 2026, will be the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. This is where the very ideas of freedom and liberty sprang into the world. And that's our area. We own this. This is important. This is something that's part of all of us. Here's the thing, though. When we think about people at the time of the Revolution, we think of them as being from a million years ago. They're statues. They're people in paintings. They've got weird clothes. They've got powdered wigs. They don't seem relevant to us. When you read their writings or the things they say, the language sounds kind of different. They don't feel like real people. They feel like somebody who's in a play or something like that, maybe in a movie. But here's the thing, and this is the second truth. This is the thing I want you guys to remember. Times change, but people don't. Human nature is always the same. It never changes. Whether it's 20 years ago, 50 years ago, the class of 75, 200 years ago, 2,000 years ago. Clothes change and hairstyles change and technology changes, but people are always just people. They're the same. When you read stories from the Bible, you can relate to the people. Now, the names are different, and the way that people live are different, but the way that people act and the way they feel is stuff that you can relate to. When Peter in the New Testament denies Jesus, and then he hears a cock crow, we all feel that. We all recognize that. That's somebody that is living a life like our lives, something we can identify with. So we can learn a lot from people in history. It's not just statues and people from a long time ago. It's people whose lives are relevant to us, things that we can learn from, things that they did, how they chose to live their lives, what their values were, whether they lived up to their values, whether they didn't. Those are things that can inform our own lives and the choices we make. So I told you I want to talk about three men who embody those. And it'll be pretty brief. Spoiler alert, they're all local guys. The first was somebody you might not have heard of. His name was Walter Stewart. He was born in Ireland but grew up in Philadelphia. He was 20 when the American Revolution broke out. He was a good-looking guy. There's paintings of him. He was a well-liked guy. He was popular. He had a lot of friends. He had a lot of opportunities. He could have done a lot of things, but he immediately enlisted in the then new American Army. He chose to serve his country. Service was more important to him than all the other things he could have done. He probably thought the war was going to be over quickly. He thought it was going to be probably exciting. I don't think he realized that he was signing up for 7 years of fighting in almost every battle, getting injured multiple times. Shortly after he enlisted, again, he lived right up here, 12 miles to Philadelphia, 10 miles. The first battle he was in was right down Route 1 here, Battle of the Brandywine. Not some faraway place, literally right over there. And that must have been a miserable day. It was a hot day. He was wearing all wool uniform. First time that those guys got fired at. Guys all around him, shot and killed by professional British troops. It must have been terrifying. And they lost. They had to leave the battlefield with the British beating them. And if they hadn't fled, that could have been the end of the American Revolution, right there, right here, in the area we are. It didn't get better for him. After that, he went to Valley Forge for the winter, where he was literally freezing and literally starving. A lot of the other guys who were his age and older, guys he looked up to, drifted away. They said, this isn't what I signed up for. We're going to lose. This is terrible. We have no hope. They all left. Not all, but a lot of them did. Guys he admired. But he stuck to his guns. I'm sure in his head he must have been thinking, what am I doing here? The whispers in his head thinking, the easiest thing in the world would just be to leave, to go home, to get some food. I don't need this. But he had values and he had principles and he stuck up for them. He did what he thought was right, even though it didn't seem easy at the time, far from it. By doing that, he gained the respect of his peers. He gained the respect of the men he worked with. Eventually gained the respect of George Washington himself. He was rapidly promoted. He became a colonel by the time he was 22. By the time the war ended and he was 29, he was a general. After the war, as a 29-year-old, he came back, lived not too far up here, married a local girl, and started a successful business. His sense of service, his service to others in his country defined the man that he became. And his work, his efforts, actually might have helped win the war. That seems like a long time ago. He's not a famous person. He's not somebody that there's a statue of. But it's somebody that's relevant to all of us. And again, it seems like a long time ago, but just at the time that he's running his business up here, another guy was coming into some prominence, somebody you've heard of, Isaiah Williamson. He's buried right up the hill, right in the building up there. I know you know all about him. I know that you've all read the book, right? Right? Yeah, everybody's read the book. If you haven't, it's short. You should read it. It's a great book. It's by John Wanamaker. It's really easy to read, and you really get a sense for the man. But for the people in the audience who don't know as much about Isaiah Williamson, let me just quickly tell you. He was born in a Quaker family up in Bensalem. As a teenager, he was apprenticed to a guy who had a dry goods business. That would be like everything today, hardware store, department store. And while he was there, he learned that business. He saved some money. He built up a good reputation. He came to Philadelphia when he was 22. When he was 22, he got a job in a dry goods business in Philadelphia. He learned more there. He eventually started his own business, and he retired at the age of 40. That's amazing. He had $100,000, which back then was a fortune. So he traveled around the world. He read a lot. He tried to enjoy the world, but something was missing. Something really important was missing in his life. Does anybody know what that was? It was service. He knew that the thing that he was missing was helping other people. So he knew what he was good at, which was making money. He took the money he had, he invested that, and he dedicated the rest of his life to making money so he could help other people. Ironically, since he was so modest, he didn't want attention, he wore like old clothes, he didn't really care about public appearances, people thought that he was like a miser, that he was cheap because all he did was make money and he never spent any. They didn't realize, because he didn't brag, because he was humble and had pride, or self-respect, he gave away during his life millions of dollars at a time when millions of dollars was an unfathomable amount of money. It was to charities all around the area here. And then when he died, he left all that he had left for what he thought was his grand purpose, one incredible project, and it was this place. It's incredible when you think of the thousands of men who have gone here, thousands of men who have helped build, improve, create this whole region and themselves because of the service that man felt for everybody else. And this is the important part, it wasn't like he had to do it. It wasn't like he had friends who were like, hey, Isaiah, you have to do this. This is what you need to do. Or he was doing it to get some kind of acclaim. He did it because it was what he wanted to do. Wanamaker said about Williamson that he did not, quote, measure his life's work by money he accumulated, or the position in society that he had won. His life work should be measured by honest living, honest thinking, and a passion for service. Then he goes on to say that the poorest man that lives and does something to help his neighbor is worth more than the finest bronze statue. Okay, again, seems like Mr. Williamson died a really long time ago. You see pictures of him, it's black and white, or a painting, and it looks like a different era. But was it? Just 15 years after he died, John Connelly was born in North Philadelphia. This is the third and last person I wanted to tell you about. John Connelly's father worked and died as a metal worker at the Pencoid Iron Works in Manioc. He dropped out of school at a young age to take a job working in a box factory. He never had a graduation like this. He never had any kind of graduation. But he learned all he could about that box factory, and he worked hard, learned self-discipline. I think there's a theme here. And in his early 20s, he moved up to a sales and management job at another box company. He learned that part of the business, started his own company, bought another company, and became an international industrialist with factories around the world. But he never forgot his roots. He never forgot the values that made him successful. The same values we're talking about today, the exact same things. They don't change over time. He also had no interest in publicity or fame or luxury goods. He cared about his family, his faith, and his community. He cared a lot about Philadelphia. Reflecting on his life, he wrote, quote, I thank God every minute of every day for the privilege of being able to help all of these people. Notice those words. He didn't say, I'm thankful for success, I'm thankful for money, I'm thankful for the stuff I have or a nice house. I'm sure he cared about that, was appreciative. But what he really cared about was the ability to help other people. That's what he wanted to do, service to others. That's the thing that brought him joy and happiness. It wasn't for some abstract reason. That was the thing that made him happy. When he died in 1990, he left his money to the Connelly Foundation, which continues to help people throughout the Philadelphia area. A few years after he died, we at the foundation learned about Williamson. He would have loved this place. He would have honored the people who work here. He would have honored you guys, the graduates, today. And they're the kind of people whose success he'd be keeping an eye on and care about. So you see, people aren't really that different over time. We've stretched from 1776 to today, 2025, in just over 3 lifetimes. It's not that long ago. People are the same. Good values, they're the keys to happiness and success, and they don't change much. Times change, but people don't. So here's the last thing I want to say about service. We all like to think we're good people, right? Right? Everybody? Everybody feels like they're a good person? I hope so. I mean, I like to think I'm a good person. I hope I am. I don't want people to think the opposite. Well, we all hope that we're good, and we also kind of think, gosh, if put to the test, if God came down before me and asked me to make some great act of sacrifice or asked me to do something, I would do that, right? I mean, I think that's what we all think about ourselves. If God said, I need you to do this, you would say, sure thing, God, I will definitely do that. But that's not the way it works, is it? I mean, there isn't usually some thunderclap, well, definitely not today, or some blinding light, or God telling you in a booming voice exactly what you're supposed to do. I mean, that would be easy, right? That wouldn't take much virtue. I mean, what are you going to do? Say no? I'm not going to do that. And of course you're going to do that. That's easy. But that's not the way the world works. Here's the thing, though. He actually is asking you all the time. We just need to listen. That old lady next door struggling up the stairs with her groceries, well, I don't know, I'm sure she's okay. She didn't ask me to help. It's not really my problem. No, it's not your problem, but it is your opportunity. It's your opportunity to serve, to show who you really are. Your friend who's smoking weed or getting himself into trouble, drinking too much. Oh man, it's not really my place to say anything. Isn't it? You sure? Isn't that exactly your opportunity? Your opportunity to make a difference? The younger guy is struggling, either first year here or when you guys move on to your next place is the new guy at the job. That new guy, he's not my problem. I don't even know him. I'm getting ready to leave for the day. He's not my problem. Well, you know what? No clouds parted. There's no blinding flash of light. But here's your moment. There's an ancient saying about service. It's as true now as it was 2,000 years ago. If not you, then who? If not now, then when? Look again at the people behind you, the Williamson faculty and the alums and the trustees who are here today. Think about those people up in the stands who made an extra effort in your life, who chose to care, who made a difference, big or small. That's you now. That's you in the future. Giving back and serving here or wherever it is that you want to care about. And it's not because you have to. It'll be because you want to. Thank you. God bless you, and good luck to all of you.